In the fiercely competitive world of sub-$800 gaming laptops, two contenders stand out for their sleek silhouettes and surprisingly powerful internals: Lenovo LOQ 15 Essential and MSI Gaming Thin 15. Both machines promise portability without compromising too much on performance, yet at the end of the day, they cater to distinctly different priorities. Here, we put each through its paces, examining chassis design, display quality, internal components, benchmark results, gaming performance and battery life, to help you decide which model best fits your needs. Lenovo LOQ 15 Essential arrives in an understated, minimalist package. Its matte finish plastic chassis feels sturdy under the fingers, and the glossy LOQ logo centered on the lid adds a clean, modern flourish. The entire outer shell, including the hinge assembly, feels resolutely functional. A single fan cooling solution and a more compact heat pipe design keep weight and cost down, though at the expense of some thermal headroom. MSI Gaming Thin 15, by contrast, strikes a balance between elegance and aggression. While borrowing from its predecessor aluminum textured lid and reframed white MSI Dragon Shield logo, this iteration swaps out the traditional blood red accents for a restrained, more office-friendly palette. The plastic body still feels solid, yet its slightly tapered profile and beveled edges lend it a premium aura. Under heavy load, the dual fan system and larger heat sinks give the Thin 15 an edge in exhaust efficiency. At first glance, both laptops boast identical 15.6-inch Full HD IPS panels with 144 Hz refresh rates, thin bezels and 300 nit peak brightness. However, color calibration and response times reveal subtle differences. Lenovo LOQ 15 Essential claims a factory-tuned panel covering 100% of the sRGB gamut, and a delta E of less than 2. Such accuracy makes it a rare find under 20 million Vietnamese dongs for enthusiasts who dabble in photo editing or color-sensitive work. MSI Gaming Thin 15 leans more toward gaming responsiveness, touting a 3 milliseconds gray-to-gray response and slightly better frame pacing at high refresh rates. Its panel still delivers vivid hues, but may exhibit marginally wider gamma variants out of the box for fast-paced shooters or racing titles. The lower latency of the MSI display helps reduce motion blur and perceived input lag, whereas Lenovo emphasis remains on rich, accurate color. Under the hood, MSI equips the Thin 15 with Intel 13th generation Core i5-13420H and NVIDIA RTX 4050 GPU. An impressive pairing that punches above its price class. Dual 8GB DDR4 sticks for a total of 16GB maximize memory bandwidth, aiding both CPU and GPU intensive workloads. Lenovo counters with an Intel Core i5-12450HX and an RTX 3056GB, but relies on a single 12GB RAM module, enough for everyday tasks, yet numerically inferior in bandwidth to MSI dual-channel configuration. Battery capacities trade slight favors Lenovo 57 Wh pack versus MSI 52 Wh. In synthetic CPU benchmarks such as Cinebench R23, MSI Core i5-13420H outperforms Lenovo, offering by roughly 5% in single-core and by over 15% in multi-core tests. MSI scores 1,713 points single-core and 10,312 points multi-core, while the LOQ musters 1,632 and 8,977, respectively. Geekbench 6 mirrors this gap, placing the Thin 15 comfortably ahead in both threaded and non-threaded workloads. For GPU workloads, 3DMark Time SPI yields 6,381 points for MSI versus 5,287 points for Lenovo, approximately a 20% uplift. While Geekbench 6 GPU test echoes the divide at 75,011 points against 55,913. Benchmarks translate well into gameplay. At maximum full HD settings, PUBG on the RTX 4050 powered MSI machine achieves an average of 85 FPS, nearly double the LOQ 47 FPS on RTX 3050 hardware. Counter-Strike 2 runs at 122 FPS on the Thin 15, compared to 104 FPS on Lenovo system. In lighter esports titles, however, RTX 3050 remains surprisingly capable. Valorant hovers around 200 FPS on both, and League of Legends sees the LOQ even eke out a slight lead at 219 FPS versus MSI 180 FPS. For AAA launches and AAA tier visuals, though, MSI extra shader cores and ray tracing muscle make the Thin 15 the undisputed winner. Despite having a smaller battery, MSI power-efficient 13th Gen CPU and optimized GPU deliver astonishing endurance up to 292 minutes of mixed productivity and light gaming. According to our real-world loop tests, Lenovo, with its larger 57 Wh cell, lags behind at about 113 minutes in the same scenario, suggesting the LOQ older architecture and less aggressive power management yields shorter unplugged sessions. If you are a gamer or multimedia creator who needs every ounce of CPU and GPU power, whether for smooth AAA gameplay, 3D rendering, or video editing, MSI Gaming Thin 15 with its Core i5-134200H, RTX 4050, and dual-channel RAM is the clear pick. Its refined cooling, longer battery life and display optimized for low latency make it an exceptional all-rounder for performance junkies. Conversely, if your primary concern is accurate color reproduction, longer battery bouts of casual productivity and a lower upfront cost, combined with sufficient muscle for esports and everyday creative work, Lenovo LOQ 15 Essential remains a compelling value. Its pristine 100% sRGB panel and minimalist build serve students, office workers and amateur designers well, provided you can live with moderate gaming performance and a more pedestrian battery life.